Hello, welcome to Brian's Table Talks. I got my pal Hal here. I like to call him my pal Hal. He does all the recording, so he actually does all the hard stuff, and we greatly appreciate him. Without him, this wouldn't be possible. So I'm reading a book. Probably should have read it a long time ago, but I'm reading it anyways. About mythology, Greek mythology, about all those Greek gods: Zeus, Athena, Aphrodite, Hera, Apollo, Hermes, and on and on and on. And one of the things I thought, as I was reading, that I thought was interesting was 12 gods, they believed, lived on Mount Olympus, the tallest mountain in Greece. And their belief was that they lived there because at Olympus was where the demarcation line was. Everything above it was sky, everything below it was earth. And from there, the Greek gods could survey everything. Now, to us today, it's a myth. They're wonderful stories. They're fun to play with. But to the ancient Greeks, they were incredibly important. Life was built around them. They built big, beautiful temples to them, prayed to them, offered sacrifices. It's what they knew. It's what they understood. Now, jumping around a little bit, in our Old Testament, the Bible, in the Old Testament, the word for heaven is Hashemayim. Hashemayim. I think the word itself sounds really cool. We translate it as heaven. What it really means is between the waters. And I've always reflected on that ancient Jews and even Christians from the Middle East lived in a dry desert place. So to them, heaven would be water, I would think. It's interesting when we go back and we look at history, especially ancient history. And we find ourselves wondering, well, how come those Greeks didn't realize those were stars just a long way away? How come the ancient Hebrews didn't realize that heaven was something with God, an abstract concept? One of my professors once told me that when we study history, we have to remove all of our knowledge, all of our prejudices, and step into the shoes of the people in history to realize they lived in a context, in a time, in a place, in a political environment, and this is what they knew. They didn't have the benefit of a Hubble telescope or world and space exploration. They didn't even have Google. I know that's hard to believe, but when we study history, when we study any part of history, whether it's the wars, the economics, ancient Greece, a lot of times people did things because it's what they knew. The ancient Greek gods are fascinating because they were how ancient Greeks, which a lot of our heritage comes from Greece, is how they described and explained the natural world, how it came into being. And it wasn't just them. I remember a story I read years ago from a Native American tribe that they worshipped a goddess. And the reason they worshipped her was because she had been slain, and when she was cut open, creation poured out of her. And that's where the world came from. It sounds kind of goofy to us, but that's how people understood the natural environment, the world around them. And when I think about studying history, I think about that's how we should get to know each other. We seem to be very critical in this day and age of people's opinions and beliefs and thought processes. And we never ask people, why do you think that way? We never walk in their shoes. We never understand it. I have a very deep love of animals in general, but especially dogs. I love dogs. And one of the things about me that a lot of people don't necessarily know is when I was growing up, my parents had a pet shop for about a decade, 10 years. And I learned to appreciate animals very deeply. And one of the lessons my mother taught me was you treat animals like you treat people. So I have a very strong passion about not mistreating animals. But you might look at me and go, well, he loves dogs a little too much. When you know where I came from, you understand it. I think studying history can help us to understand people today. Because what we were is what we are today, and what we are today is what we'll become tomorrow. I don't know if that's a profound statement or not, but it certainly makes sense to me. As I'm reading this book on mythology and understanding these Greek gods, it helps me to understand the ancient Greeks. And I got to be honest, Understanding people thousands of years ago, people who we learned philosophy from, where the names Plato, Aristotle, Socrates came from. It is fascinating and it is interesting because by understanding them, I understand us a little bit more. I invite you and encourage you, pick up a book about history. But when you do so, put yourself in the story. Realize they don't have the benefit of looking back like we do. They did what they did because that's what they knew to do. Whether we're talking about history from 100 years ago, we're talking about medieval times, Renaissance times, ancient Greece, or biblical times. It is fascinating. Why did they walk everywhere? Because they didn't have cars. My friends, get to know the person next to you. Walk in their shoes. Get to know them completely and truly. Listen to them. Listen to the stories. You might find out you get to know yourself just a little bit better. Friends, I hope today you're able to find joy in each moment, peace in every day, and a story to share. And may you go in peace. Till next time, it's Brian's Table Talks. Have a great day.